Hey, folks, welcome to the wrap up of the Coachful Coaching Leadership Podcast for 2023. I am doing this podcast on a whim right now. I have some inspiration, discipline, and motivation to do this right now. And, before the new year hits, I figured I'm going to wrap up 2023. I already created an article on LinkedIn, and it'll be in the show notes. And look, I just want to share some of the best lessons I learned about leadership from the guests I had. It's been a blessing in 2023. I had 24 episodes with various guests from, folks who were leaders in the past, folks who are actually teaching other leaders, who are executive coaches, folks who have started their own businesses, and they unpacked how they did that. So it's been a blessing in 2023 to do this. And, today I'm just doing a solo episode. I haven't done one of these in a while. So I'm going to count down. I'm going to pick some of the best lessons of 2023 from my guests. And so let's get started. The first lesson is from Linda Walker. And so Linda Walker, she's an executive coach, and she was an executive coach for me as well. And a couple of lessons I learned from her. One of the best quotes from her is, "Youth is wasted on the young." Youth is wasted on the young. And what she meant by that is that, knowing what you know right now in your later years after so much experience, what would you do differently? Like, if I knew all the things I know right now and I went back to my 20s, my teens, my gosh, the number of things I would do differently and how I would be, where I would be right now would be very different. And that's what she meant by youth is wasted on the young. So, when you think about that and, connected to that is, she also said, life is short, enjoy the journey. It's one of those cliches that you hear in, a lot of memes, a lot of Instagram stuff. But when you really think about it, we're so attached to outcomes. We are so attached to, what happens if I don't get the next promotion? Well, so what if you don't get the next promotion? How are you enjoying the journey? And what skills are you learning right now? And that is the most important thing that Linda emphasizes. How are you enjoying your journey in life right now, in your career, with your family, with your friends? What is that journey like? Are you burning all bridges in order to get to the outcomes you're trying to get to? Or are you creating better people along the way? Are you helping other people up the ladder in your journey? And so something to think about. All right, that's from Linda Walker. Brianne Ligori. So Brianne Ligori and I chatted in one of her aha moments in her life. So she was early in her career, she was a high performer working in the pharmaceutical industry, had promos every year. Success was just on this, this upward trajectory. And one of the things that she found eventually was that something wasn't sitting right with her. Something didn't feel right in her career where she was at the time. And she says, follow the breadcrumbs. So breadcrumbs is, there's life and leaves you little hints. Hints, for instance, the values of the company you're working with don't align with yours. Or there's something you're seeing other people doing that is just, it seems a little more interesting, and it's something that you might want to do, but then you really feel this drag towards another direction, and you don't know what it is. And so, I think a lot of folks, myself included, could get very frustrated very, very quickly when we don't see, okay, well, what's my next step? What am I trying to achieve? And it's okay. And this is connected to what Linda said is, enjoy the journey. And what Brianne's saying is follow the breadcrumbs. Just follow literally the breadcrumbs that life is leaving for you. If you know there's a certain direction that you are tending towards, whatever that might be, let's just say you're in a corporate job, and you know what, your passion is, making jewelry. Follow that. Start making some jewelry. Start selling it online. The barriers to entry nowadays is so low. For myself, I had this nagging feeling this time last year that I want to share. I want to talk. I love talking. I love being in front of a camera. Podcast was the way. And there's very low barrier to entry to doing things like podcasting. And maybe that's another podcast. How do you get started in a podcast? Getting started is not hard. We have all the equipment we need. You have a phone, you have a computer, you have an internet connection. That's all you need. But follow those breadcrumbs and let's see what happens. Just follow it and be patient. All right. Next lesson from Peter Reeve. So Peter and I had a great chat. He's mentored a lot of people over the years. And his piece of advice was people buy from people they like. And so this really goes back to the relationships you build with people along the way in the journey of life, in the journey of your career are so important. You need to ensure that you are building relationships, you are understanding what's in it for the other person more than yourself. And when you build these relationships, when you try to understand what's in it for the other person and you help the other people and you pull them up this proverbial ladder, they're going to like you, right? People like others who pay attention to them, and people will buy from people they like. So Peter, thank you very much for that piece of advice. Next piece of advice that I'm taking here, Paul Shields. So Paul, thank you very much for your participation in this podcast this year. Hope to do this again. He says, be a person of value to sell yourself. So the context of that is, a lot of folks, especially if you're starting out your career or you're looking to get to the next level, the next promotion, there could be some folks who oversell themselves, trying to promote themselves in a way that is disingenuous, not authentic. And Paul's remedy to that is be a person of value to sell yourself. So the question is, how are you helping others? How are you helping the business? How are you helping others succeed? Similar to what Peter was saying. People buy from people they like. So people will hire people they like. And so how are you of value to the person that you are trying to get a promotion from? Sell yourself that way. What are you going to do for them? All right. Next lesson is from Kelly Wood. Your inner critic hates inquiry. All right. This is kind of deep, but look, all of us, especially high achievers, whether you're an athlete, business person, it doesn't matter. You have an inner critic. It's that little nagging feeling at the back of your head says, you're not good enough. You suck. You have no business being amongst all these people. Don't write that book. You have no business writing that book. That's your inner critic. And so there's various ways you can tackle it. What Kelly suggests is don't try to crush that inner voice, because that's the inner voice that also protects you. Don't crush that voice. Don't yell at it. Don't tell it to shut up. But, ask some questions. The inner critic hates inquiry. So what she means by that is ask it questions. So Kelly reflects on herself writing a book. And her inner critic comes out and says, you have no business writing this book. And so she asks questions. Oh, how's that true? What evidence is there that I'm not qualified? And so having a conversation with that inner critic. And one of the things you'll find is when you question that inner critic, you'll find that that's all it is. It's a critic. It's not reality. It's not the truth. And it dissipates. Next lesson. Val Wolloch. The quote from her is, if the person's fly is down, just tell them. Just be direct with individuals. And the context there was when you are giving feedback to others and you're helping others get better. First of all, be direct. It doesn't have to be mean. You can be direct and yet be kind at the same time. And the point will still be communicated. So be direct, but also be non-judgmental. So, someone's fly is down. You're not being judgmental. It's an observation. It's like, hey, buddy, your fly's down. Zip it up. Yeah. And you know what? They're going to thank you before you go on stage. So be direct, be kind, and be non-judgmental when you're providing feedback. So that's my quick wrap up for 2023. There is more, but I wanted to keep this short. So look, thanks folks for listening to this podcast in 2023. I'm going to see you in 2024.